So today I did things a little different. And what I mean by this is you guys may not know this, but I'm incredibly busy all the time. I own multiple businesses. I have a 9 to 5 job, a wife, young kids, tons of activities, and it's very difficult to do all the things I want to do when it comes to content. That's why I'm looking forward to late market cycle when I do have more time and we can talk about more of these exciting things. But I scoured through tons of articles. I scoured the interwebs. I went through social media. I watched a ton of different Shiba Inu content today. And I'm sensing very similar themes. And that is that, holder sentiment for the most part is kind of a little bit on the lower side right now. Some people are just exhausted, right? And at the same time, many people are waiting for this trigger. And in fact, those outside the space are waiting for this trigger as well. And there was actually a comment by a viewer that I want to talk about in this regard, what that trigger may in fact be, and a couple important things that are changing a little bit direction wise in the charts. So if you guys are new or haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, hit that bell again. It's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So I'm sure right away we're going to get some comments about people saying, oh, Shib's doing nothing, it's fading away. I've seen a bunch of people say, oh, just move on to something else. And those are the exact signals we look for at this time. That's a perfect gauge of sentiment. And like I talked about earlier today, it's been mostly negative. Now, I think context is a very important thing, and people need to realize that Shib has been doing incredibly well. All right. When we look at these monthly candles in terms of Shib, I mean, guys, this is the first red month we have had since summer. I don't think people realize that, right? But Shib since August has been just climbing and climbing and climbing and setting higher benchmarks and showing foundational support. Shib is doing the exact things you want it to do right now. Is it at a new all-time high? No. Is it at a cycle high? No. Should it be? No. Right? And I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions is people think that Shiba Inu should already be setting new all-time highs. And that typically does not happen for assets at this time in this market cycle, but it happens shortly. If you guys are looking for a better gauge of when that might be, you guys should check out my last ADA video that will have went live. But what I want to point out here is that when we're looking at Shiba Inu, a couple important things are in fact playing out. First of all, the MACD, which we don't talk about a ton here on the channel, there's too many other things to discuss. Right now, it's about at that point where on the daily, it's looking like it's starting to cool down just a little bit. And what that means is that the negativity and negative momentum is in fact slowing. That's a very important sign for Shiba Inu's reversal that we have ahead of us. What that also means is that we're probably about to see the MACD line slow down here. We're about to see the signal line kind of come and bottom out. And we have done this actually before in terms of Shiba Inu. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger. So we look back here, for example, at this kind of step that we experienced from September through November, which I've actually referenced. I think I referenced that earlier today. We saw the MACD fall below the signal line and kind of show this bearish trend, and it was slowly working its way down into the right. It's a little more aggressive this time because of the flash crash, but you guys can see that there eventually came a point where things slowed down, cooled down, and we had a sharp flip around, right? And that, it looks like, is about what is about to happen here. Now, when we look at the monthly chart here, we can actually see that monthly momentum is extending and actually building, right? Despite this being a red month and despite this being a little bit to the downside, a retracement obviously from 4033 down to 402, we'll call it 4026, momentum has not slowed here, and it's looking like it's getting ready for its next leg. Now, that being said, obviously, some important things have been taking place in the market. We talked about this probably about a week and a half ago. Ethereum, so phase 2, ETH is actually starting to outpace BTC. This is a very strong sign. Now, we have had a minor correction over the last about a week and a half or so, and that's not surprising because we're probably going to do, one of these where ETH bounces on its way up into the early part of alt season, right? Which we're now beginning. Now, that being said, there are a lot of people that are pointing towards this next extension and this next exciting moment in terms of Shiba Inu. And frankly, there are so many things that could in fact be that trigger that really start the excitement kind of rolling, we'll call it rolling uphill in the market, right? Excitement starts building, whether that be today's FOMC meeting, which this video will come out after that. We'll see how that affects price. We obviously have just the back half of December in general, the Santa Claus rally, one that tends to send BTC to higher highs, the one that tends to send altcoins at least building in terms of excitement. January 1 for tax purposes. I've seen a lot of people talk about that. January 20th, the new administration coming in, the pro crypto embrace. I mean, there's so many things that could actually impact the market in a positive way. And yet I see so much bearishness, so much pessimism throughout the space. And frankly, it doesn't bother me at all because I have a very distinct strategy, and that is accumulate, accumulate, accumulate. If you guys are curious, I have dumped 0 Shiba Inu during this time. Most of my Shiba Inu, guys, was accumulated during the depths of the bear market. All right. During this fire sale range, for those again that follow me on the channel, you know, we accumulated very heavily here. We accumulated in this opportunity zone. So I'm deep in the green. But that being said, I'm not taking profits right now because I know that the biggest times of adoption are in fact ahead of us. Again, we had the gift zone that flashed here. I'm going to get rid of the MACD because again, we already covered that. But if I had to do one final box here, one final, we'll call it last chance box, this is about where it's taking place, is right here currently. All right. Now, this isn't financial advice or a guarantee or anything like that, but this is a very, very tight range that Shiba Inu is going to try to find support in. All right. And if Shib is down in this box, it's probably not the worst opportunity to accumulate Shib. Now, again, not a guarantee, not financial advice. People can do what they want, but we'll look back on this and say, oh, yeah, that was a good spot to accumulate Shiba Inu. And the reason why is, again, big waves of excitement are coming. Big adoption is going to hit the space. Shib already showing that it has more and more and more strength in the charts, more and more and more support. These little shakeouts that we're experiencing right now, they are the big entities in the space. Some might say whales, but mostly market makers trying to get people to unload their positions one last time before the big burst of excitement in the space. Hopefully this makes sense for people. There are bigger powers at hand than you know that affect the way that the charts move. Unfortunately, as smaller holders, whether you have a million Shib, whether you have several billion Shib, it doesn't matter. There are entities that have trillions of Shib that will control the direction of the markets. We have large pairings with Ethereum as well. So when ETH is making moves like this 0.37% drop that we've had on the day, Shib is going to be affected by these things, but we'll get to a point where it doesn't. And that's Altseason. That's the beauty of mass adoption. That's the beauty of big capital hitting the market in bigger ways than you can fathom. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. We have some very exciting times ahead. Don't fall for anything negative right now because the excitement hasn't even started. So something I didn't get to in this video, let's talk about it quick. All right. So I think this was Miles Dutra that talked about this. Sorry, guys. So BTC about 40 days ago entered its parabolic phase. And why this is important is this phase usually lasts for about 300 days. So we're about now 40 days into that, which means that that's about the point where the market cycle peaks. And coincidentally enough, that ends up coming to about September of 2025. That's pretty close to that October of 2025 peak that we talked about. So we have actually all the time in the world for Shiba Inu to make these moves, for it to gain more significant ground. I want to remind people that Shiba Inu can do a 4x move in 7 days. Shiba Inu can do a 10x move in 30 days. And I want to bring this back up one more time, seeing as we haven't talked about it in a couple days. The supply on exchanges for Shiba Inu just continues to drop and drop and drop. The big impact from this hasn't even hit yet, but when it does, you're going to see some pretty significant things in the charts. So I appreciate you guys as always. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know this was a little bit longer, but I appreciate your patience. Let me know your thoughts below. What are you doing with Shib right now? But I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.